So I was telling my friend Dave, who just came over, um, I was listening to him. He was talking to me about his day, and we ended up going back over Goethe's Four Epochs of the Spirit: the Hardy Folk Belief, the Theology, which is a true religion, Philosophy, which is number 3, and then the dissolution in vulgar sensualized banality. And I was telling him how I really feel reaffirmed in my placement of these 4 epochs of the Spirit in the 4 seasons. But I found that with Spengler, I think it was, he loosely followed this, but he placed the seasons differently. He started the seasons, I believe, with spring as the first epoch. And that makes sense. And understanding the general idea, you can follow this through very clearly, where you start with spring, summer, autumn, fall. I mean, spring, summer, autumn, winter. But for me, in this right up here, this, let's see, this quadrant right here is winter, and that is the first epoch. And then spring here is the second epoch. So this is a Hardy Folk Belief, and this is the Theology. Theology actually falls within spring. And then what I did, see, around this whole thing here is the zodiac, and Dave and I he's met a lot of people. He has many relationships. He's met a lot of people. He's got a good memory, and he's one of the few people that can actually put on a character on the face, and it can be very convincing. He would have been a natural actor if it would interested him. But what I realized, and I told him, and I said, I keep having in life the reaffirmation of this being a Hardy Folk Belief, so that when you talk to a Capricorn, an Aquarius, and a Pisces, they are affirmed through a Hardy Folk Belief. But Dave and I are here. Dave is a Virgo, and I'm a Cancer, and Leo. This is the philosophy. And Goethe felt that this was the high state, and the high state, the blossom of the Spirit, the blossoming, fruitful, well, not the blossoming, but the fruitful aspect. But the problem with philosophy over here is that it can analyze the life right out of existence, which then precipitates the dissolution in vulgar sensuality, vulgar sensualized banality. And it's a cycle that just affirms itself, Let me see if I can, there we go, in that direction. So when you're dealing with a Capricorn, Aquarius, or Pisces, from our perspective, we can analyze the life out of something. So we got to be careful that we only analyze it to the point of where we affirm their Hardy Folk Belief. With dealing with Aries, Taurus, and Gemini, we only want to analyze to the point of affirming their religious theology. Both these sides are the construction of forms. The day is getting longer. That's why it's red. The days are getting longer and longer and longer. Forms are being built. On this side, the days are getting shorter and the forms are dissolving. Now, at the point up here is Sagittarius. They're known as the philosopher, but their whole point is to pass on the alchemical golden seed thoughts. That's what this partially represents up here. Pass on the alchemical golden seed thoughts to the next cycle of a Hardy folk belief. So we develop forms, and then we dissolve until these golden seed thoughts can be passed on. The only thing that makes it is that has the innate constitution that affirms for the next cycle. Now, on the top here, the nights are longer than the days, so the unconscious is predominant. So people predominantly allow their unconscious to guide and direct them. Down here, people use their consciousness to direct them, their waking consciousness. So this is important to understand, that unconscious tendencies are what are guiding up here. And so the Sagittarius, even though brilliant, everybody can be brilliant, but what affirms them is a dissolution in vulgar sensualized banality. That's the cycle they're in. That's the phase they're in development. And so it comes to a point, I was telling Dave, I said, with Sagittarius, I just go to them and I say, hey, I'm going to keep going. I am one of these things that live on and are passed on. What I do is I want to pass on the most life-affirming. And then at that point, they stop philosophizing and they go, oh, well, let's just have fun then. Generally speaking. Because their stance is dissolution and vulgar sensualized banality. If we just throw off all of our concerns and just dive into our unconscious tendencies, the only things that's going to surface are the most important life-affirming aspects. And I was telling Dave, it's like this great divine comedy. This divine comedy, like Dante was expressing, is that it's just this yes to life. Oh, crap. There we go.